Perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Core and Insight webinar. I'm your host. Name's Cin, and today we'll be covering generally within Core. So most customers actually do ask me this. What is Core? Core is, it's not integrations. It's not reports. It's actually what makes up Cin7. This is what Core is. So like the transaction pages, the StockTake Master, basically what's in Cin7. And that's what I'm going to be covering today. And out of these, all these different modules, I'll be covering generally these four sections. So I'll be covering the product page, which is basically the foundation. And then the next part, I'll be covering the smart buyer today. And then on the StockTake Master, I'll be covering the replenishment values as well as counts. And then my all-time favorite, I'll be showing you guys document template and email template customization. So I'm going to be going in some detail, most of I can, covering all these topics, and I'm going to be going through and discussing it with you guys. If you guys have any questions in regards to this, we do have a Q&A question, Q&A bit near the end, and you can ask away your questions there. So let's get started. So page. So before we actually do get started, we do have a contact support page. So anything I discuss here, if you guys want to go back and look at more thoroughly, we do have a help page for you guys to look at. As you can see over here highlighted, you can also follow the update page, you can follow the update page, you can contact support, and there's also the status page. So I actually do recommend bookmarking this for you guys so you can really utilize the help functionality we have on Cin7. We also have the premium support. So premium support is for customers that have premium support with us. You guys can give us a call if you have any questions as well. So let's get started. So the first part, the product module overview. The reason why I actually chose to cover this, most of you guys probably know how to set up products, but the products module is actually like the foundation, the guts of Cin7. And if you don't get the foundation all correct from the start, it can become a real hassle later down the lines when you go to different modules because of, if you say that you set up a product incorrectly, it will become a hassle for you guys to go through and be like, oh, I could have created it this way. So I'm going to be showing you a product module overview, but particularly covering the stock control more in depth and showing you guys how to, I suppose, create a product. And I'm going to be showing you quite a vast way of looking into the product module. So different ways you guys could set up for your company to create your own products. So I'll be covering all these different types, and you guys could, I recommend give it a go, because you could always go ahead and delete this product once you have created it. So let's get started with the product setup. I always like to think the product setup here, the black one that I've highlighted here, as the body of the product. And it's just the foundation of the product that I'm going to create. So you can see here as a start, we have display so that you can configure, so you can set it as public, you can set it as inactive, or have it so it's secure, and so it's just with internal use. So you can have these different displays and functionalities to where you display the product. There's also product names, so the name of the product, and the stock control. So stock control is what I like to go into more in depth. So first we have the default, the first in, first out. So it's, as the name suggests, it's so you take in first in, and then it's the first out, so during transactions. I recommend using the first in, first out if you're a customer that uses just very simple products, just like, for example, if you're selling, I suppose, a bag of apples, you will use first in, first out because you don't need a batch or a serial to associate the products. The next one is batch. Now, batch is quite an important control method. If you are a customer that utilizes, especially fashion companies, if you guys utilize a lot of sizes such as large, medium, or small, you always want to buy them in batches, and you have these batch sizes that are associated with it. And normally, it's not shown here. There'll be a size grid just at the bottom here, which you can configure it so you have different sizes. And I'll be showing you guys later as a demonstration, showing you this. So that's batch. Serial. Now, if you're a company that uses electronic and sell electronic goods, you might want to use serial. So serial is a way for you guys to for example, if you sell a Windows 10 key, so to have a computer to use Windows 10, you might have just a serial associated with that, and you want a serial ID associated within the transaction for you to see. So you use serial because it will be a unique product associated with the serial. So that's when I suppose is a good way to use serial. And then we have the last but not least, non-stock. Non-stock is a non-diminishing product. So what that means is during transactions, it's pretty much, it's just there to keep information. Most of the time, people use it for labor cost or to update the landed cost as well. So if you have different custom duties and etc., you'll use non-stock. More details like this can be found on our help site, as I mentioned. So if you want to look into that, you guys should definitely go ahead and do that. The next part is the supplier. So if you have a product associated with a supplier where the supplier supplies you this product very often, you definitely want to set up a preferred supplier. This ID here is based on the the CRM ID, and then it will just update accordingly if you search it. So you can just double check it with the ID if you have multiple CRM names that look the same. And then style code, which is like the body of the code. So like for example, if you're selling iPhone, you could use like a style code for that. And then order type, I'll go into more in details with this with Smart Buyer when it comes to it, but it's just another way to associate the different product settings. And like I mentioned, I'll cover that more thoroughly later. For classifications, now this is good to use if you have, so on the product module, this category here is used so that you can organize your product. Say that you have books within your company, you want to categorize it in into books, and then you can have subcategories, which you can do here to associate like different genres, so action, sci-fi, and etc. So just keep it clean on the product module. So you can definitely do that. I'll show you guys, I suppose, later on if we have time to do this category setup as well. And then channel is mostly used for integration or other EDI or 3PL, but that's for that. You guys, I suppose, don't have to worry about that too much at the moment. And then the product type and product subtype. So that's pretty much the same as another way to classify the product. So you can go ahead and do that and set that up, and you'll be able to see it as a dropdown. Now, the next one is dimensions. So dimensions as well as accounting, these two here, they are default. Some companies will have it by default inactive. If you guys want to activate these, I'll be showing you during our tutorials how to do that. Sorry, during our demo, how to do that. You can also change if you're a company that uses imperial or metric, you can go ahead and change the different style, and I'll be showing that too. Accounting, I won't be going too in depth, but I just wanted to show you guys that you can have this field too, and I'll be showing you how to. So if you have products which is associated with accounting, you definitely want to have a sales account, purchase account, import custom duty information there for you to see, and as well as later on, it could be used through your accounting software. The next we have promotions. Now, as I mentioned, I won't be going too in depth with this, but promotion is just another way to set up products to do discounts. So say that this customer has bought 6 cans of Coke. Normally I say them for $1. If they buy 6, I want to give them a 20% discount. So you can do something like that and set it up. So based on the threshold, and you can put in the discount and etc. So that's promotions. The next one I'll be covering is product option. Now, when I tell customers, I always like to tell them, hey, the product setup here that I've shown you here is the body. And then the product option is just another way for you to categorize even further within the product, just the body of the product, what you like. So, and as an example for you guys is on the style code, say that I have an iPhone. Now, I don't want to make several different products of the same product over and over again when I can just do it in the product options. So you can set up as just iPhone as a style code. And then, for example, say that I sell in different colors, you'd be like iPhone white as the code, iPhone black as the code, and etc. And you can have option 1 to label them. So you can actually do these customization within Cin7 to do that. And you can just do it within the product options. So you just need to press add option to add more. So I'll be showing you that in the demo as well. I'll be also covering UOMs. So that's just another way, for example, say that normally I sell a can of Coke for $1. But I don't want to, type in within the sales order 6, I can actually make it so that the UOM, I can sell 6 cans of within one box through the UOM. So like 6 cans, 6 cans within one box. I can sell it as in bulk. So you can set it up that way, and then you can also associate the pricings with that as well. So let's go ahead and try this. Now, the one important thing I haven't covered within the product module, I always like to emphasize this before I get into it, is that on the products page, please make sure that you have taken into account the special characters. Special characters don't really work well with Cin7, and this actually goes for any other software companies out there. So other inventory management software companies out there will also have the same issue where special characters in general just won't work well with software. So how do I get to this page? So I'll just show you this again. You just need to go into products and click on settings. Come all the way down, and then you'll come to a page like this. So normally you have just this page, and I'm just going to be showing you that. So you have product version, industry, carton, all these different options come up when you go into the settings. Now you want to make sure that on industry, so before even getting into creating the product, you should be first setting it so the industry is to what you like. So you can set it as standard, fashion, flooring, furniture, and wine. And the basic template of the products page will change accordingly. So if you're a fashion company, you definitely want to have it in fashion because you want it size grids. And then, for example, if you want UOM, you can turn that on. And as I mentioned before, you can have the accounting one on or the dimension turned on. You can change the metrics or to imperial as I've shown before. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. Go to view application. There we go. So we can see that it's been set up. So if I go ahead and try, and actually, I do have some couple of products I've set up here, so I can show you. So you can see that now the size grid is showing. You have all these different pricings and etc. So I'm just actually probably better if I just create a product. So what I did last time was create a Coke. I'm going to call it Coke 3 for now. I'm putting the style for this product. So you can even set up categories for this. So I'm just going to put, I suppose, just to show you guys, test 2. You can see that it's been updated as so. You can add in the dimensions and etc. So I'm just going to put the code 8. Perfect. And then I'm going to add in the UM just to show you how it works. So if I add in the UM, you can see that you get an indent to show you that the UM has been added, and say that I want to sell 6 cans of Coke in just one bulk. So if I go Coke 6 pack as the code for this one, and you'll see how it updates. So you can also, as I've shown you, as I said before, you can set up these different prices as well for the UM if you wish to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. Perfect. And then I'm just going to go into a new sales order. Perfect. So I'm going to go into, I'm just going to create quickly a customer here, and then I'm just going to show you how it works. So, oh, just a little tip as well for you guys. If you guys know the code already, and if you type it in, instead of just waiting for the drop down to come up like this and take a bit of time, if you already have the code, you can press tab like this, and it'll go straight away. So you can load the product just quickly, just fast and just easier for you guys. So for the UM, as you can see, its unit price is 1. So as I mentioned before, say that I sell it in basically 6 cans in 1 pack. You can see that it's updated. So I've set it up for 6 before, and you can see the cost has updated accordingly. So you can see that the ordered, you can update this as so you can see that it's going to times it. So you can see that it's 12 here and it's $12. So this is probably a great way to set up UMs if you are a company that requires to sell things in batches and just complete it in general. Some other questions I also like to cover while we're on the products page. So on the products, if you try to change the stock control method, so I've covered this, when you try and change the stock control method while you have stocks on hand available, so you can see that on this I have 2 stocks on hand, what will happen is it will throw an error for you to adjust the stock out. So you can see that it throws an error. Now, if you're a company where, hey, I feel like I need to change the stock control, I highly recommend not to do this. I recommend just deactivating this. So just go over to the display and just turn it off for now. And then just create a new product with a new stock control and just make the adjustments for that product to fulfill the stocks on hand numbers that is required. And you should be good to go from there. So I recommend doing that if you are changing the product name. Other thing I haven't covered is the size grid. So size grid is just, as I mentioned, if you're a fashion company, and you require to use sizes, you'll be able to activate this on, so if you have fashion products and you have it set up as fashion, just as I've shown you before, you'll be able to use this to a full extent. So you can have different sizes here so you can actually, during your transaction, complete that. One thing that you also note that it will change the stock control method to batch. So you always want to use batch with your size grid. So moving on from here, before I do, let me just do one little thing. So just one moment. Just need to set up one little thing for you guys before we get further into this. So just one moment. Perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and share screen again. Cool. So the next module I'm going to cover, as I mentioned, if you guys have any further questions with this, please feel free to ask during the Q&A, is the smart buyer. So smart buyer, what is smart buyer? Smart buyer is just another way of you to utilize the purchase order incoherent with the sales order. So if you need to make purchase orders for sales orders that you guys already have for preferred suppliers, you can use the smart buyer. Smart buyer is just a great tool for you guys to use, such a powerful tool for you guys to enhance and as well as be more efficient in utilizing the purchase order and the sales order module. Now, Smart Buyer, there's these different filters that I'll be covering, and it's just another way for you to tackle down on what purchase orders needs to be made for a certain sales order, or if you need to make purchase orders for different products as well. So on the first, let's have a look at last stock count. So that is, as the name suggests, the last stock count. So you can put in the filter, and then you can also put in the dates to filter it out for the last stock count. The next one is last transaction. So that's the last transaction that you might have had with a product or a supplier. So you can filter it using that. The next is search suppliers. So if you have a product, as I've shown before, if you have a product associated with a supplier, you can actually use this filter to search for that product. So you can use the supplier to filter out the smart buyer, and this is what the interface will look like when you do filter it out. And then the next one is search products. So search products is just as the same thing as search suppliers. You'll just look for the products that you want to look for using the filters that's given there. The next part, group buy. So some customers actually don't know that we can actually do drop shipping through through Cin7. There isn't. I know that some customers that I've gone and talked to, they use the very convoluted way of just using the sales order and purchase order and just going through so many steps to complete a drop shipping method. So the group buy functionality has this thing called auto reference and supply. If you have it set to that, you'll get a special pop-up here where it says create a purchase order through drop shipping, and you can do drop ship using the smart buyer. So I'll be showing you guys later on this. If you are an old customer with us, Cin7, you might not have this functionality, and all you just need to do is just get in contact with us and we can add that for you guys. But most of the customers will have that functionality. And then we have the type, so that's just another filter. So I recommend out of the 3 filters there, which I'll be showing you on a demo, is to just select all supplier because it's just I suppose, a better way because you have so many filters here. It's just much easier for you guys to filter it. The next one, which I believe is quite important in the smart buyer, which makes the whole system so powerful, is the stock status. There's a lot of different stock status you guys could do, and you can see that at the moment by default there, we have open sales, no stock to meet. So if you have open sales order and you have no stock within those sales order, for example, a product like a can of Coke, you don't have enough stocks in hand to complete that sales order, you can use the stock status here on the smart buyer to filter for it and make that transaction. We're using the purchase order. And I'm just going to cover here just briefly a couple of them. So that's this part here, the green. So the first one, we have open sales order, no stock to meet sales. So that looks at all the sales that have been created without stock to fulfill them. The next one is open sales order with buy to dropship. This is, so you can see here what it says. It is the order type. So if you have a product set up as dropship, it will show you that. So I'm just going to quickly show you that before we get more into this. Sorry, just need to do that. So go to products. I believe I have set it up for products used for dropship. So if I go ahead and look for this product, you can see that here I have the order type set to dropship, so you can do that. So as I mentioned, the order type is just another handy way to mark a product that, hey, this product needs to be used as for dropship. So it's just setting the order type for that. And then using Smart Buyer, if I show you, sorry, purchases, Smart Buyer. And then if I go look for that product, you can see that product is showing up as show. So I have an open sales order here, which you can see here. It's based on the product filter that I've got here. So it's set for drop shipping. So you can go ahead and do some sort of filter like that as so. And then the next one I'm going to be covering is all open sales order. As the name suggests, it will just show you all the open sales order. And you can use Smart Buyer to filter it even further. So that's just a very open way for you guys to use Smart Buyer. And the next one is open production jobs, materials out of stock. So if you are a customer that uses production job heavily and you find it very difficult or just, I suppose, plain annoying just to fulfill a a child component within the production job, and it just doesn't have enough stock, just instead of just going through a purchase order and creating it, you can use the Smart Buyer as an advantage to create a purchase order to complete the production job. So I'll show you that now as well as an example. So I'm just going to go over to the products page. I have set up a bomb product to show you. So here it is. So let's go ahead and look for this on the Smart Buyer. Oh, so let's just go ahead and create one then. So let's go to new production job. And hopefully I don't have enough stock to complete this using the child components. Cool. I'm just going to hit approve for now. And then I'm just going to research this. Suppliers. Yeah, that means I still have enough stock to complete this. Let's put this as, save this. Just one moment. Okay, well, I suppose it's not showing up because there is the child components have the products. So the child components have enough to meet the stock requirements. That is why it's not showing up there. But let me just try this as well, just to see. Yep, okay. So it's just because it has met the requirements. That is why it's not showing up. But if there isn't, if you have an open production job and it has not met the criteria, it will show up here. So I'm just going to go back to the webinar here and go to the next part. So the next one is all stocks. So this will show you all the stocks that you guys have on Smart Buyer. And then the last but not least, we have stock available less than min stock level. So this actually filters. So actually we have a couple of customers that call in and get confused by this. On the StockTake Master, the replenishment value is not associated with this on the Smart Buyer. This is actually on the products page. And if I go to the products, I believe I have set it up for this product here. You can see it is actually this here. So you have the min stock level reorder quantity here, and you can use that as an advantage on Smart Buyer. So if I go to Smart Buyer again, and so if I go ahead and look for that product. So at the moment we can see that we have 2 stocks on hand and -5 for stocks available. If I just go ahead and you can see that it's showing up because it has not met the requirements. So if you have So if I just go over to the product page, if you have, say that you set this to 10 and you have 10, like 11 or 12 stocks on hand, it will not show up on the Smart Buyer. And you can really utilize that for your business if you require some stocks to be at a minimum stock level, and you can make the adjustments. So this also includes reorder quantity. So reorder quantity actually works the same as min stock level as well. But it's up to you how you like to use it. So you could use it as a reorder quantity if you would like to. So other questions that I know that customer will ask is that, what is this box used for? So say that, for example, here, I just go ahead and do this. You have a lot of these different boxes, and it shows you how many it's going to purchase or do drop shipping for. If you want to set to a specific number, you can use this box and just put the number in, and it will do it for all of them. And you can go ahead and create a purchase order or a drop ship accordingly to complete that. So you can see that here, the drop shipping is shown because I have order reference and supplier group by set like this. But if I do this, you'll be able to see it disappears as so. So yeah, so it really comes down to you, I suppose the company, how you guys will like to use a Smart Buy. It is definitely a powerful tool, but I know that it can be pretty overwhelming when it comes to looking at the different filters. But once you guys play around with this more often, you'll be able to realize that, hey, why don't we incorporate this within our business to speed up our efficiency or to enhance our business. And this is just a great way to go ahead and do that. And yeah, I hope that kind of helps you guys. If you have any further questions, just ask us in the Q&A. And yeah. So the next one I would like to cover now is StockTake Master, my favorite. So if you are a company, so I suppose most company has a warehouse, and I'm sure they have warehouse managers that look after the stocks that is displayed there. And the StockTake Master is just a great tool to use if you want to keep your stocks, stock numbers healthy, in check, and just being very progressive about it. So using the StockTake counts, you can utilize that to full capacity. So say that on a company in your warehouse on Cin7, the stocks on hand numbers is showing 5. But when you check the warehouse physically, you notice that the number of Coke cans, I've only got 2. So you want to do a StockTake for that branch, and you want to use that. You want to do that through the StockTake Master. Now, when you use the StockTake Master, there are some steps here. So we can see that search products, export data, and update counts. Now, when you go through this process, it is important that, I talked about this at the start, you have the product set up correctly, because if you don't have the foundation correctly, later down on the line, it will become much more of an issue. It will become a pain for you. And you can, so if you have like a special character, you have to get rid of it because it's not going to go well with using the other modules. So just make sure you guys have that set up, and yeah. So the first step is when you are doing a StockTake count. So I'm going to be covering the count first and then replenishment values. So when you do StockTake counts, you want to make sure you have the correct branch set up. So make sure you have the correct branch set. The update mode, you want to set it as stock counts. And then for type, you want to have it set to accordingly. So if you want to have it all, or there's a different filter, such as I believe 6 months ago if you did the StockTake, etc. And you can filter even further if you have different bin location you want to specifically look at, category search, and products. So you can really, so this is just sort of like a filter to use to look for certain products. So the next step is I always tell the customer, even if it updates down here the correct information as you do the filter, make sure you click on sync latest data and refresh. We always want to be certain, and we see that the functionality is there for you to do that. So once you go through the search products, you want to make sure you go down here and just click on this. And the next step is to export the data. Now, when you export the data, it will only give you the counts to use. So when you put it into a spreadsheet, it will only show you the counts, what to use there. But if you want to see the stocks on hand numbers for that branch, you can click on these tick boxes here to get more thorough detail when you put it into an Excel sheet. So when you put it onto an Excel sheet, you'll be able to see the stocks on hand numbers and all the little details you've ticked there. So once that's done, just click on export data, select data, and just put it into your spreadsheet to do the stock take. Now say that you've done your stock take and you looked at the warehouse and say, hey, looks like the numbers are good. Now I'm going to do an once I'm finished, I'm just going to go ahead and now import this to Cin7. So the next step is to go into update counts. So you just need to copy and paste it and then process counts. Now, once you have processed this through, a lot of customers come up and face this issue where there's these two options that will come up, and I'll be showing you as a demonstration. The first one will do the counts based on the Excel sheet that you've got there. So if you've done it for certain products, it will do the stock take for those certain products. But if you click on this button here where it says this is a full stock take, add no counter products as 0 counts. I know it sounds pretty convoluted there, but it just means that when you do the stock take and you, for example, you only did the stock take for Coke, but you have 16 different other products in that main branch, it was going to zero out all the other products. So it's doing a full stock take pretty much. So it's going to zero out all the other products, but for the Coke can that you've did, it will go to the value that you set it as. So if you're a customer that would like to do that, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Most of the customers I know that did this or use this is if they want to just zero out their branch for the stock and just start again as so. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover this. So let's go ahead into stock. Let's go into StockTake Master. Cool. And I've got here a product, my first in first out product. And you can see I've set it up here, and you have all these different options that you can set up as well. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and select all, and then I've got a specific product here. Now, I'm just going to show you guys here that if you do this, make sure, as I mentioned, click refresh and sync. This will get all the information here on the export according to what's displayed here. If you just want a specific product and you want to just do a stock take for that, so just going to clear this data with that button there. You can see that it will just show up for that product. So just make sure you have the right filter. Say that, hey, in my warehouse, I do have a particular row where it's just cans. You can filter the products just for cans. And if you have the name can in that product, it'll filter all that out and you can do the stock take. So as I mentioned before, this is why setting up your product as a foundation is very important, because it will make your life easier in the future. So if you have the product name somewhat similar, it will show up down here and you can do a full stock take just for that row. So it's about being organized with your products when getting into this. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. So I'm just going to update the counts. I suppose we can do 7, I guess, for now. Normally you'll copy and paste this to an Excel sheet, but for example, I'm just going to show you doing it here. It says counts. Now here's the two options that I mentioned before. So let's have a look what happens if you click on this. You can see here that it's going to show all the products associated with the branch, and it will zero it out. So you can see that it's getting zeroed out, and you can see the differences. But for that one product that I have included in the stock take, and when I imported it in, you can see it's going to take the difference for that product, and you can see there's no issues. Now, you don't want to do this. If you are, if you're just doing it for one product, I recommend just using the other one. So if I go ahead and show you this. Cool. And then if I click on this, you'll be able to see that, hey, it's just for that one product, and I can actually complete this doing the stock take. So if I just do this, just give it away. Perfect. Finish back to adjustments. I always like to also tell the customers that once you finish an adjustment, it will create an adjustment. And if you want to go to this, you just click on stocks and go to the adjustment here. But don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's what I always like to tell the customers, because Cin7 is quite versatile in terms of just fixing it. But you just need to make sure that you fix it straight away, because if you have different colleagues working on the same account and they make a transaction using the adjustment, that could be a bit of a hassle, because you have to adjust out the stock and then remove the adjustments. So, if you know already that this is incorrect, just go to the admin page and just void it, and you can just start again. Now, let's quickly go into StockTake Master again, and let's try replenishment values here. So replenishment values, you just need to change the update mode to this. Why do we have replenishment values? So replenishment value is actually mostly used within reports, and it's just a good way to associate this products that you've got and the stocks on hand numbers, and you can see the safety stock quantity and ultimate stock quantity, and see the relationship using the reports for that. But here on our webinar today, since it is core, I'll be mainly looking at just the course size. So just the StockTake Master itself, how to set it up. So for example, this product here, I actually have values already set, but I'm going to show you here how to set it up even further. So you just set it up, put the information there, sync, refresh, export. So it's the same sort of scenario here, and then just change the value. So I'll move one away. Just copy and paste this and go to update replenishment. And you can see that you can double check if the value is correct and let's confirm. Cool. You can see that's not updated, but if you click on this and refresh, you can see the value updated accordingly. So this is a great way to manage your information if you're a heavy user of reports, so you can use the safety stock quantity and ultimate stock quantity to your advantage. More information on this is available on our hub page, so you'll be able to look that up and get more thorough information. So let's move on to the next slide. Yes, my favorite part. So document template customization. Now, why am I covering this? Document template customization is a great way for you guys to reach out to your customers or your suppliers to let them know that, hey, this is who I am, and it's just really showing some sort of face value for your company. It's just a great way to boost the morale of your company. You can add all these different customization the way you guys will like it. Just really customize it on your own. Make it Cin7 your own. And it's just a great opportunity for you guys to do that. So I'll be covering the document template customization, which is used in all transaction, and then email templates as well if we have time. So now there's two different, in document template, there's two different settings that you can use. The first one is the basic customization. Basic customization are pre-given configuration that you guys can use to do the document template customization. And you can just go ahead and tick the values and you can do the customization. I will be going into a demo and I'll be showing you all this. The next one is advanced customization. If you are a company that or if you know how to do HTML or CSS, you can break it down further so you can actually look at the code and make it your own even further. So customizing it to the point where, hey, is this Cin7 anymore? Yeah, so you can always go ahead and do that, and I'll be showing you how to do that. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So let's remove this. Cool, so let's go ahead into settings. So if you want to go to the document template place, go to settings. It's under setup and go to document templates and click on create new documents. So you will have some of you guys, if you are being gone through onboarding, or if you are a customer that's been around for a while, you have some document templates here already given, and I recommend just leaving those alone and perhaps just creating a new one as they're shown here, and then just create your own document template. But for here, as an example, I'm just going to show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on order. Now, when doing document template customization, customers always come up and ask me this: do I need to change the type? Now, the type is very important when utilizing a document template. You always want to make sure that it is different from the ones you have, because if the name is the same, it will disable the other one. And it'll become a problem later down the line, because if you have several document template customization and you link it to different transaction, how would the system know that, hey, do I need to look at this one or do I need to look at this one? And so just make sure you have a unique name for the type. So I'm just going to name it order 4. So you can see that it's automatically generating the name. And let's get straight into it. So by default, this is what the basic customization looks like. And you can add in more details. So say that you have created day on different transaction, you can add that. And you can also reorder it. So if you like a different structure, you can do that. As well as if you have different logos that you would like to use, you can always add it here as well. So you can choose a file too. You can also change the header if you like. So for now, I'm just going to try hello world. And you can add in a pro forma header if you like as well. So you can see the customization that you could do within Cin7 given here. So this is just for the header, which is the top. Address, it's pretty much the same. You can add more details here to show more information. If you don't want the delivery instruction, you can always go ahead and hide it too. And the next one is line items. Now, line items, I always like to emphasize this to customers as well when they're going to document template customization for the first time. This is very unique compared to all these other bits here. So you'll be able to play around with the code, and I'll be showing you guys later this. But you want to keep in mind that you always want to keep this together, all these information, because it will become a problem later down the line and it'll break. But I'll go into more details with that. So for the line items, if you're a customer that uses zones and bins, you can add that in. Or if you're a customer that uses batch, you can add the details in, and you can see all the details here. So you can make a customization perhaps where, you know, if you have two different invoice templates and you don't want one to show the zones and bins, you can make two different document templates and associate that. So you can see that you can do all this, and this also applies for all these other little details here. So you can also change the totals accordingly. So the next part is going into the advanced part. So if you know how to do HTML, or perhaps just want to play around with it, convert the templates to custom. So once you have done that, you can see all these different codes, and you're thinking to yourself, what is this? You know, what does this all mean? So don't be too flustered when you see this. The best way to check how to associate all these values is if you click on preview, you can see it's associated with the different invoice. So if you have like a sales order with an invoice date, this will pull the sales order invoice date. And you can see there is a difference between the loop and ATT. The loop is the one that is used in the line items, and you want to make sure that you don't mix these together. Always separate this. Always want to separate this. So I'm just going to show you here as an example. Put this here and click on preview. Oops, so maybe not invoice date, something like reference, something that you can visually see. Cool, and then preview. You can see, you can see now that the reference number is shown, and you can see you can really customize it the way you want it. If you guys want to just perhaps also just use tables and just customize it a little bit and be more organized, you can use the tools here. You can add in bold, italic. You can even insert tables here. So you can see I added a 2x3 table here. So say that if I want to have more information, you can associate it here. I'm going to be sending you guys during the Q&A this. So this is if you use the advanced template. This will show you what fields to use. So just look at the delivery address, the delivery suburb, and all you just need to do is just replace after ATT the information that you like. So say that you want the internal comments. Now that's a very asked question. If you want internal comments to be there, just go ahead and look for internal comments here. And then just follow the template that is given. So internal comments like this, and it should work. So it's just basically the name that's over here. And then you just put it in and it will show accordingly. So that's the setup here. And then if you want to go into further, more advanced, you can click on the code view. And this is going more into details. If you want to do further customization to the way you like it, I'll play around with this. I'm sure most customers won't play around with this. So yep. So once you're done with this, just before I do, you can also always go back and revert to the original change you made. So when you always save, you can always revert back to the one that you had before. So if you made a mistake, you can revert back and it shouldn't be a problem. So you can click on these views as well. And I'm just going to quickly show you, because of time, how to activate these on different transactions. So make sure if it's grayed out, you click on change, click on yes to activate it. As I mentioned, I'll be providing that sheet that I showed you guys to play around with on the chat later during the Q&A. So I'll go to sales order. So I'm going to set up a document template that I've got here. You just need to do is come over here, click on the cog wheel here, scroll all the way down, and this is where you'll have the print documents. Now, some customers will have some print documents set up like this, especially if you have asked us to do this. Make sure you just leave those alone, because I'm sure you'll be still using them, and just add a new one. So remember the type, and I remember that is set as order 4, and then say that I want to show up as something else. So orders, so maybe like hello world 2. And I'm just going to put on the pop-up here. Cool. And then you'll be able to see this and use this on this transaction. So sales order, for example. So you can see that I've gone and set it up. If I click on this, you can see that it's the document template I've just customized, and I'm just utilizing this now. So you can make multiples, many different ones, and really utilize the document template to make it your own. So if I just go to the admin page here quickly, you can also see it here. Now, I'm going to go over the email templates, and email templates is actually the same. So email templates, it's going to be like this: sales order email templates. Purchase order will be the same. So purchase order email templates. Choose the one that you would like to change. You can always create a new one. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and copy one here. Perfect. If you copy one, it will be grayed out. So you just need to make sure you click into it and turn that on. So when doing the customization, it's actually quite the same as the document template customization. You just need to make the changes, add in the tables that you like. If you don't want the Cin7 logo to be there and change it to your own, you can go ahead and remove it and click on Insert Image to make the email template your own. So these code here, as I mentioned previously, is associated with the transaction page. So it is basically all these different fields here that you could use to utilize and put on your invoice template. Email template. Please make sure that the line items, it will not work with this because, as I mentioned, it's quite a unique functionality and it's only for document templates. So anything that's not in the line items, you can use and display it here. As well as, let's go ahead and do this as well. If you want to change the attachment when you're sending the email, you can go ahead and click on the auto attach here. So the ... click on this and look for the document template you just named it. So the type, as I mentioned, is order for. Save, and then during the email templates, and when you go ahead and use this, it's going to use that email template with that document template. So you can make several different functions for that to make it your own. Sweet. So now I think that generally covers all of the modules there. So how does promotional matrix work? Promotional matrix is just another way to add in discount values. So for example, for this product here, I guess the threshold I'll set it as is 1. Sorry, maybe I'll just try, I guess, 5 for now. Right, because of the unit price. So say that I have set to 40 for now then. Cool. And then discounts say that if they buy 40, I'll like a discount of 20% for this. So whoops, probably want to do it like this. And then you can see the different action groups that you can associate it with the product. So when you go into the transaction page, for example, sales order, you can use that, and then if the customer buys more than 40, the discount value will be applied. I'm just going to quickly go into the help article and show you guys more in detail, just to show you that it is all there. Sorry, just one moment. If I just go ahead, I believe. Let's go into this. If you go into, nope, not, yep, here, you can go and look for that. So you can search up promotional matrix. This will go more in detail on the promotional matrix setup because there's actually quite of different ways you can set it up. So you can see here, you can have discounts. If you have a set price, you can go ahead and do something like this and go ahead and do that. So this will go more thoroughly in detail, the way that you want to set it up. And I recommend using this help article as an advantage to cover that. The reason why I'm not covering it to the full extent is because of the timing we have on this webinar. So I'm just going ahead and showing you that. So that's good. Let me have a look. Oh. So I've got one question here. Can you change the home page of purchase order / sales order, adding supplier acceptance to purchase order page? Supplier acceptance. Now, if you are talking about on the side of adding another, let me just read that again, sorry. Can you change the home page of the purchase order / sales order, adding supplier acceptance to purchase order page. Supplier acceptance, if you are talking about adding a custom field, you will need to raise that as a ticket. So on our help site, you can raise that as a ticket, and then we can go ahead and add the custom field for you guys. So by default, it isn't available. Sometimes we do charge customers as well if it's quite a heavy customization, but if it's simple as just adding a field, we can go ahead and do that for you guys. So if you want an acceptance, supplier acceptance field, we can go ahead and do that for you as so. So this includes if you want another module as well. So let me have a look. So we got one question here. Can you please further explain how we can use Smart Buyer to replenish stock with min-max level rather than just against open sales order? No, so you don't need to have open sales order against it. So if you go to the Smart Buyer, if you have the min stock level and the reorder just set up for the product, so like if you go to that product here, I'm not sure why. If you have it set up here, it will definitely show up here. So even if you don't make a sales order, it will show up. And then you just need to go ahead and just look for it, and you can make the adjustments. So if I look here, for example, if we look at the product for my first in, first out, and then if we look for that product here, so you can see that it will adjust accordingly. So it's minus 30. You can see that the value is going to try and make that purchase order for that to go back to the number that you like. So you can do that. The other customize or the manual number adjustment that you would like to do is you can just put in the value you like and do the adjustment. So it's just about utilizing the min stock level and reorder stock. So you just need to put in the value there, and then during the Smart Buy, you can filter it for it and then just complete it. So you can see that on order reference, you don't have to make a sales order. So you can see that it's just doing it on its own because there's not enough stock. So there's that one. So as for example, if we want a customer, so I'm having a look at this question here. We have a product that have 4 sizes. For example, 250 mil, 500 mil, and 1 liter, and etc. If we want the customer to buy 250 mils, 24 cans to get wholesale price, 500 mils, 12 cans, 1 liter, 6 cans, 4 liters, or 3 cans. How do we set that as at the matrix? So if you are, let me just read that one more time. To buy 250 mil cans to get wholesale price. It's quite an interesting question. So if you have a size grid, I suppose that's not right. I'm assuming that you don't have a size grid set up, or more of a product option maybe. But either way, if you do have something like that set up and you really want to utilize how the customer buys, like in packs that I've shown you before, is to use the UOM here. And so that, say that you do 24 for one of them, you can go ahead and change the retail value, the VIP wholesale price, and etc. according to that. So it's kind of like, you could even think of this as another way using a promotional matrix, but when you have pricings associated with it, but you can go ahead and do that and you'll be able to complete it. So I recommend playing around with the UOM, I suppose, and see what you can do. And as I mentioned before, don't be afraid to create a new product and see what you can do with it. So like if you create one here, you can go to new sales order and just play around and see how the number is reflected. And you get a much more comprehensive understanding of that, because I know that even if I will show you here verbally or on here, it's not going to be, it's not as powerful as just doing it as yourself. So I recommend giving it a go, and come back to us if you have any further questions through your ticket. What does you? So if you want to know what UM stands for, let's go over here to the page. So you can see here. So the help page, as I mentioned, will show you all the details. So selling a product with alternative measures. So that's pretty much what it stands for. So all these kind of stuff is always in the help article, and you'll be able to find all the little details like that. So yeah. The pricing tier. that shows up in pricing. Can I change the order of the price tier that shows up in pricing? So yes, you can. So if you're meaning in the new sales order, I put in the different price tiers. So if you have different price tiers, so if I just go to settings page just to show you this, price tiers and cost tiers, and you can add more price tiers here. And if you have different ones, you can always go to a sales order and just change that. So be like, hey, I want it to be VIP, I want it to be wholesale. You can do that. If you're also referring when you load like a customer up, can I set a price tier? You can actually do that. So on the CRM, so this is kind of outside it, but so you can see there, you can set up a price tier. So by default, if you have a customer that you want a certain price tier to be associated with, you can do that, and then it'll show up during a sales order. Yeah, so you can do that instead of just manually going through and doing this. Let's see what else is there. Oh, another question here. Can we have different cost price for wholesale and retail channel sales so that our margins are reflected correctly? So can we have different cost prices for wholesale and retail channel sales? I believe you can do it, I suppose, if you have different price tiers or cost tiers set up. And then you'll just need to make sure that so you can have like different, you can even have like, so if I just go to a product quickly, sorry to show you. If you have like a wholesale here, you can have another wholesale one here if you set up through the cost tier and price tier page. And you can have another value associated with that to to have the different margins show up correctly. So you can do something like that as well. So have more price tiers and cost tiers for this. What else is there? Let's see. So here's another good question. Oh, sorry. Yes, price tiers is. I'm sorry. I mean, I was talking about mostly price tiers. So that's the same thing as price tiers, Karen. So you'll be able to do that for price tiers. So give that a go and see how it goes. Oh yeah, so this one question here. Is there a way we can see the badge numbers on the StockTake Master? Ooh, I'm afraid we do not have a functionality like that, but I do know that we do have something like, it is on our feature request in regards to that. We had a couple of customers, I remember, calling in regards to this where they want the badge numbers to show up. So currently we do not have a way to see this. So it'll be kind of nice to have more tick boxes, but at the moment, as of now, we do not have that sort of functionality. So I just recommend just using the one that's given here. And in the works, we do have that as a feature request that is still worked on by developers, but there's no ETA for that. Cool, and then let's see what else we can do. We have another question here. We tried the UM already. The wholesale will be, for example, more than 24 cans to get the wholesale. Okay. I think in your case, because it's quite specific, I recommend just reaching out to us, I suppose, as a ticket, because we need to have a look at what you specifically want. I can't really give a straight answer here, but if you raise it as a ticket and for us to look into, I'll be happy to answer that for you, see if that is possible, and see if we can incorporate that within your workflow. Perfect. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do have a survey that we could, if you guys could also answer there. It will be nice because it will be good feedback for me to see what I can improve on and give you guys the best possible webinar next time if I host it for you guys. Before I go, because of timing at the moment, I would like to come back to the slides and come back to this. I know that some customers don't know about this, but we do have a customer referral program. If you can refer a customer to Cin7 and you've done it, so you can always email us with this and give us the detail. We'll give them a personal call and see if they are interested. And then you can get $2,500 added onto your account on Cin7 for the next couple of months if you have any bills that you want to pay. So I recommend go ahead and do that. That's a great opportunity for you guys if you have anyone in mind. For any questions here that I haven't answered, I'm afraid, I'll please raise it as a ticket with us. and I'll be happy to look into it for you guys and talk about it perhaps even more thoroughly, case by case. So yeah, thank you for joining today, guys. Today's core webinar. I hope that kind of helps you guys see, I suppose, more, I guess, see or think more outside the box to enhance the visual perspective of Cin7 and just make it your own. Thank you very much.